The Famous 5 Adventures. The Birthday Adventure. Chapter 2. George stomped down the path that led to Curran Common. Alf was her friend, and now she couldn't even get him a birthday present. Hopefully a walk would cheer her up. "Come on, Tim," she called. The sun was warm, and after they had been walking for a while, George began to get quite hot. She turned and headed back towards the beach, where there would be a cool breeze. The beach was normally quiet at this time of morning, but George could already see a little motorboat pulling up to shore. She frowned. The boat belonged to a local fisherman, but she didn't recognize the two men in it. They were dressed all in black and looked around carefully before climbing out. "I wonder what they're up to," Timmy said. George. All of a sudden, Timmy bounded forward. "Stop, Tim, stop!" George called after him, but it was too late. Timmy was already racing across the sand. Before George could catch her dog, he had reached the men. Now he was tugging at a duffel bag that they were unloading. And barking loudly, he jumped around them, getting in their way. "Control your pesky dog," one of the men snarled. "You should have that mutt on a lead," the other agreed. "Timmy doesn't need to be on a lead. He's just being friendly," George snapped. But the two men had already turned their backs on George, and were marching away along the shore. "How rude," said George. The sun was now high in the sky. George tugged off her shoes and socks, and started to splash through the waves. She walked along the shore, letting the sand squelch through her toes. "We should head back soon, Tim," she said finally. "Oh, but what's that?" George had caught sight of something down in the shallows, and bent down to pick it up. "It's Box," she exclaimed. "And a quite lovely one too. Look, Timmy." Each side was decorated with the most beautiful carvings of fish and boats. It looked as though it might have once belonged to a sea captain, and was clearly very old. Perhaps it had been washed up from one of the shipwrecks, of which there were plenty in the coves. It had a thick layer of varnish on it, which must have prevented it from rotting in the water. "What a spot of good luck, Timmy," said George, beaming. "This will make the perfect present for Alf."